Hey. Welcome to Artsy Adventures with Angie. I am starting the new year, new February, trying to go live more often. So that is the reason I am on today, because I have to get back into a routine and a schedule. I haven't posted my um I haven't posted my calendar yet, but will be soon. So I just wanted to hop on here. I'm kind of an hour delayed, so I wanted to do my lives now, going forward, Mondays and Wednesdays, from 12 to 2. I'm a little bit behind today because I was trying to get everything situated, cameras situated, multitasking. Let me just make sure. Okay, this is recording. So I had to get my laptop. I have like three devices going on at the same time. So I'm only saying that because I need my phone to record while I'm on the iPad on the live. And now I need my laptop so in case, so I could see, basically see myself and be able to see comments, because I cannot see comments. I did not see comments yesterday when I was on my live. I had to only see it on the phone, but now I need my phone. And now I can't move. I'm trying to move my screen. How do I move oh, there we go. Okay. So I have to refresh my screen. Hello, Yvonne. Okay, I see comment there, but I just want to make sure I don't miss out on any comments. So I'm going to just double check. Let's see. Okay, so that's kind of strange. Maybe I have to click on here to be able to see the comment. Just give me a moment so I can get situated. We're going to have a fun little live today. Actually. Okay, so I could see comments this way. All right, which is fine by me. All right, so there you go. Oh, well, thank you so much for sprinkling. Again, I apologize for my voice, my nasally, my Fran Drescher. My nose is like, I'm so congested. Can you see the poofy in my eyes? I'm so congested. But the show must go on. No more excuses, right? We got to start the new year doing new things, and I just want to make sure. Thank you so much, Yvonne, for sprinkling. And I apologize if any other groups are going on right now. I'm just going to move this off to the side so I can also see the comments. I got like so much going on here, so it's been a while. But I have to come back to live, especially now that FB is being more monetized again. So I have to keep on going. So anyway. So happy Monday, happy Groundhog's Day. Hey, I don't know who invented that holiday, but they should go. First of all, the groundhog came out and saw its shadow. And apparently when you see its shadow, we're going to get 6 more weeks of winter. No, thank you. The winter and all this snow can go by. Okay, so I thought upon myself, don't mind the background. I actually used an old canvas, but it won't go away. I erased it as best I can, so I must have used carbon copy. So don't mind the background, but there is my little groundhog. So we're going to be, I just took an old canvas, and we're just going to do a quick mixed media groundhog photo. We're just gonna paint a groundhog in a mixed media format. Trying a little bit of a new style. So I'm just gonna bring this down so y'all can see. Let me make sure I'm recording for YouTube. I'm recording here. Anyway, so I just took an old 14 by 14, same size I used yesterday. And and basically what I did is I just kind of eyeballed a photo I saw on Pinterest of a groundhog, and went ahead and drew him as best I could with the details, and just kind of, I did it kind of like over another picture I had before. So sometimes this is a good use of when you have a drawing on an old canvas, but you're like, oh, I'm not going to paint that anymore. You just can paint right over it. As long as it's pencil, you can paint right over it. So what I'm going to do is, normally once I get all my darks in here and my tracing, I like to grab a Sharpie marker at all the dark spots areas. So like right here in the nostril, I'm going to do a little outline. So I'm going to outline the groundhog. The little thing right here with the lip where his mouth meets. Maybe a couple of the dots where his whiskers are. And now I'm just going to outline with a Sharpie. Sharpies are the best for outlining, especially when you don't want bleeds. And you don't want like that kind of area. So anywhere the dark areas, I'm going to try my best to outline the eye without messing up the eye. As best as I can. So yeah, so I'm trying there. So, and then I'm going to go ahead and just do a little feathering on the outside area of this groundhog. They're kind of cute little fellows. They're a little cute. Kind of remind me of a cute little, kind of like a chipmunk. Looks a little bit like a capybara because it has that capybara type face. And then the hands are dark. They have dark black hands. And I believe they have thumbs. I think they have 5 digits. So I'm just going to go ahead and outline. So almost the same hands as raccoons in a way. So yeah, so I'm going to just kind of outline the hands. And I'm doing this in the Sharpie. And then if I can get a little bit of my info, I'm going to try my best to get some info about these cool little creatures. I don't know who started that whole thing, but I don't like it. I don't like the fact that they are predicting our weather. Like, that's what we got the weatherman for. So we went ahead and just did a quick little outlining with our black marker. So again, don't mind all this stuff in the background. A lot of that's going to get deleted. Deleted or erased or gone. But I kind of see this flower here. So that I had from my previous. So I think what I'm going to do is, I do like how the flower looks, because I think the cool thing about putting the flower in, they predict the spring is coming or winter's coming. So we're going to have a little bit of a winter color in the background. And I'm just going to outline. Just a couple of leaves. So just like I said, it's a little bit of a mixed media. So I'm going to put a little bit of spring, because we really need the spring, y'all. We do need the spring. And I'm just going to do a couple of these here. Okay. So we have a little bit of the floral there, but we're also going to have some winter with winter color background. And then, like I said, this is going to be all mixed media. But the reason I outline in the pen is because when I paint backgrounds and I do overlays, I will not lose my image. And I could add different colors. And that kind of helps. So that is the only reason why I'm outlining. Because this way I could still see the image underneath. So I'm going to come here in a minute and do some Google fun facts about this cute little creature that is like, I don't want to say weirdo, but who came up with this? So, you know, and of course he saw its shadow and they predicted 6 more weeks of winter. Like, we're trying to get out of the snow and this cold. It was 17 degrees here this morning here in South Carolina. The high today is going to be about 40-ish. So some of our local roads are clean, but not so much like our other roads. So I'm going to go ahead and use True Blue by Deco Art. I'm just going to use a nice blue in the background. I'm going to put a little bit of black on my plate. And again, I just want to, I want to make sure I can see it on my other screen. Got to get some white. Got to get your basic white. And I'm going to grab my my big 3/4 inch flat brush. You just want to get your flat brush here. Like that. And I'm just going to dip it with maybe just a hint of the black. So almost creating like a dark blue. And we're just going to do like just a crisscross pattern around the whole thing. So don't forget your sides. When you're dealing with a stretch canvas, don't forget to paint your sides. I always like to do that first, so I don't have to come back and think about it later. So it's always a good way to practice to always get those sides going. Just like that. And then continue the crisscross. So I always like to do that crisscross pattern. It's usually my favorite because it gives the background more movement. So I do like that for my background. Okay, so we're doing that. And we're just going to continue just mixing it in. Could put a little teeny bit of water just to help it blend out a little more. I'm going to get here as close as I can to the flowers and to my groundhog. Oops, see, I already got some on his face, but it's okay. Not gonna fret. Now, if I had a wipe, I could have wiped this off right away. That's wipes are the erasers of the acrylic world when you make a oopsie right away. But because I don't have it, I'm just gonna let that dry. I'm just gonna wait for it to dry. And we're just gonna go around So I am aware that some areas are going to look darker than others. Get as close as I can to our furry friend here. And we're just going to go around. So put a little bit more water, tap, tap, tap. Kind of just helps it spread out the paint a little bit better. And I'm just gonna go up to the sides here. So I'm just gonna do like this area because we might put in a different color here eventually. So again, I'm just mixing that blue-black mixture. I'm gonna go ahead and do that whole bottom edge, even though we'll probably introduce another layer of color over it once it dries. And yes, so just like that. So thank you for sprinkling, Yvonne, for being here. I am just gonna go ahead and continue that blue mixture. I don't want to see any canvas white color. Okay, so once we've done that, with that blue, I'm going to take that blue and we're going to add a little bit of white. And in there, I'm just going to, again, just go over, crisscross with a little bit of blue and white. And I think I'm going to go ahead and introduce this Ocean Breeze. It's like a turquoise. Just put a little bit on my plate. And I'm going to grab that blue and a little bit of that turquoise. Maybe a little bit more. And I'm going to just kind of while the paint is still wet, do some crisscrosses in that turquoise and then continue to add more turquoise, more blue. And we're just going to add that around the other side. So more focus on this kind of turquoisey, bluish white. So we're mixing Ocean Breeze by Craftsmart with True Blue by Deco Art. And a little hint of white. Notice I'm going over those little filigree branches, which is fine. I'm just trying to get as close as I can to those flowers. And as you can see, not really being too perfect, just going right over that area that I need. And then what I'm going to do, just like that, I'm going to add just the turquoise. So we're just going to blend in lighter turquoise. And remember, this is just like pop, 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 pop color, pop, pop, pop. Just a little bit of that turquoise all the way around, just a little bit. Notice I'm just staying more towards the middle. And there is your background. Okay, so we got this bluish background. So see how that whole background that we had with the heart and all that just disappeared. So I'm gonna put this in my let me just double check. I've got some areas covered. And whatever left over of that turquoise, make sure you can always touch up some of the sides to add a little character. So it's not flat blue. Okay. So I am just doing like that. So now I'm gonna put this in my water. Okay. And Try not to get paint on myself. So what I'm going to do is, let's go in here and type in fun facts about groundhog. Sure. Okay. So, let's see. I might have to move this over. So it says here, Groundhog Day, held annually on February 2nd, stems from the German traditions where a badger or a hedgehog's shadow predicted 6 more weeks of winter. Punxsutawney Phil, which is the one they always bring out, the famous Pennsylvania groundhog, has made predictions since 1886, often inaccurately, but with a 39% accuracy rate. The rodents are actually large squirrels that emerge early from hibernation. So now they're squirrels. Okay. Well, I did not know that they're like squirrel family. So a magic elixir, according to folklore, okay, Punxsutawney Phil is immortal, living for over 130 years by sipping a special elixir of life every September. That's just the mythology of the Phil the hedgehog. The original animal, German settlers in Pennsylvania originally used hedgehogs to predict the weather, but switched to groundhogs because they were more common in the area. Low accuracy, despite his fame for Punxsutawney Phil, has been right only about 39% of the time. Well, I hope he's wrong about the extra 6 weeks we're getting. So yeah. So let's see what else. So not the only groundhog. Other forecasting rodents exist, including Wyerton Willie in Canada, Staten Island Chalk in New York, and General Bo Lee in Georgia. So apparently there's other mascots other than Phil. The original title, Phil's full official title, is Punxsutawney Phil, or Seer of Seers, Sage of Sages, Prognosticator of Prognosticators, and the Weather Prophet Extraordinary. Apparently that's like all these little titles. Okay, so we're going to put this to dry. Let's go ahead and dry this a little bit so we don't mix colors. So you got to have it dry. And hopefully I don't shut down everything I have plugged in. They're heavy sleepers. Groundhogs hibernate a state so deep their body temperature can drop to 35 to 40 degrees. Didn't know that. Separate bathrooms. Groundhog burrows are complex, featuring separate designated chambers for sleeping, raising their young, and a bathroom area. So at least they're smart in that sense, right? So we're just going to dry this up a little bit. So let's see. It says the first celebration, the very first official Groundhog Day celebration was held in 1886. And as of 2023, the groundhog has seen its shadow 107 times, predicting a longer winter. And then it did not see it for 15 times as reported by the news. Alright, so we want that nice and dry. And now we're going to go back to that pastry brush. So we're going to get this pastry brush here and we're going to grab some of I think we're going to go with a little bit of brown. Just a little bit of brown. Grab some brown. I'll offset some of this brown here. And we're gonna just sort of just make straight background lines. Very lightly, I'm not doing it too heavy. Because when you do mixed media, you're just trying to get like more of contrast and just more I'm trying to find the words, more interest to the background. So I just want to be kind of getting a little bit of a dark colors here. So I'm just going to give it a little bit more, just using that pastry brush and just kind of dragging it across here. Okay, while I have this brush, okay, this is gonna help us with getting a lot of the color in the groundhog. So what I'm gonna do is, just bear with me. Just wanna make sure I can see its original color. Okay, so it has a little bit more lighter browns. So the darker browns, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab that same brown, and we're going to go ahead, and because these groundhogs have wiry hair, the pastry brush is the best in doing those hairlines. So notice how I'm going outward in this direction and inward towards the middle. So you're going in two different directions and outward on the side. I'm just doing this with my 1-inch pastry brush. Went a little bit higher here. And we're just going to fill him in. But we're avoiding the face. We're just going up to the chin area. And just about there. Not a lot. Just a little bit to add the base color on our groundhog. Okay. So now I want to get a little bit texture-y with, I have this rubber stamp here. It's a beehive type rubber stamp. I'm going to grab that type of thick brush that I showed you before to offset some of that and add, just kind of rub it in my little rubber stamp here. And this is like a beehive type stamp. So I'm applying the acrylic paint over it, and then we're going to just go ahead and try to put a stamp of that pattern in the corner. Okay, that didn't really work as well as I wanted to. I'm gonna add more paint. Try it again. Okay, I'm not sure if it's because I gotta press on the actual, there we go. I had to press underneath. So I'm gonna do it again on this other side. So just gonna add more of this paint. So when you have a stretched canvas, you're gonna have to put your hand underneath to press with the stamp. And then use your fingers to kind of rub under to get that pattern. I'll do one more here on this corner here. If there's anything left on that paint, I'm not sure. We'll see. So that creates more of that mixed media type pattern. So it kind of gives it really cool texture there. Another thing we can do is we're gonna grab now a little bit of, I'm gonna grab a little bit of that turquoise. So let me just make sure I'm not missing on any comments. Okay. And let's go back here. Okay, let's refresh. Make sure I'm not missing any comments. Something fell. Oh, here we go. So I'm going to grab a little bit of, just cut out a section of this bubble wrap. And I'm going to take some of this turquoise and I'm just going to apply it to some of the bubble wrap here. And just kind of press a little bit here, a little bit there. So you're kind of just doing a little bit of now overlap it with that, just overlapping it, and just creates really cool designs on it. Maybe a little top up here at the top, like it's coming off the edge. So I kind of like that. Yeah, so that looks really good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm going to put that in there, put this off to the side, and then you have this really cool like pattern going. And now we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put this, I'm not gonna wet this yet because we might have to use it again. So we're gonna leave this nice and dry. It's still nice and moist. So I'm just gonna put it off to the side, right? So in the meantime, I wanna focus now on our little guy here. So let me go ahead and, oh, let me see my comments here. Hold on. I want to focus now on our little guy here. So let me go. Okay, here we go. So I just wanted to move that over. So what we're gonna do is he has more of a dark grayish on the top of his head. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a very small, flat brush, and I'm gonna grab some white and find a spot in my plate and make kind of a darkish gray or medium. I don't know, like a medium gray. Okay. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start right about here and I'm gonna sort of fill that part in with the gray over the head and a little over the eye, just like so. So they have like a grayish, brownish, dirty brownish type of face. And I think that section should be in the blue, but we're gonna leave that to dry. And then they do have a little bit of that gray, a little bit of that gray, and I'm gonna brush downward in a downward motion. Remember, you wanna go with the grain of how their fur is. I'm just gonna go right over those little black lines that we made in our Sharpie marker. I'm gonna leave that highlight there. And then we're gonna grab again, just put a little bit of black and white to make that mixture. And now I'm gonna go right over here because we have some dark grays. Kind of divides the head from the body. So it's like the head, they remind me of sea otters in a way. Or like the head has a different color than the body. So we're just sort of going in downward stroke motions. And we're just going to go right around the chin. And just like that. So I hope everyone is having a good day. By me, we've had no school today, but not because of the snow. I think it was just professional development day. So I think the teachers had to go in or something. I'm not sure what exactly, but yeah. So now I'm going to go ahead and dip it in my buttermilk. So this is when our buttermilk and a little bit of that brown right next to my gray. So we're going to now start kind of weaving in between with kind of like a beigey, browny, grayish mixture. And we're just going to paint now around the ear, on the inside of the ear, which has more of a, let's put a little bit more of the gray in the center. Let's do a little bit more gray here. In the center here. Like that, yeah. That's what I want. And so now I'm gonna try to put a little bit more of this buttermilk. So notice how I'm not cleaning my brush. I'm just gonna wipe off a little bit more buttercream around the nose, because the nose area, and I'm gonna brush outward away from the nose, because they have like that section right there, which is like all lighter than the rest of the body. So just like that, just kind of blending. Get a little bit more of that buttermilk. Kind of probably change my, let's change our brush to a thinner brush so we can start adding the smaller lines in here. And we're just going to continue with those little smaller lines, because that's what you see is just those little lines of fur. That makes up that fur. And some little highlights here with the fur. So that is what we're doing. We're just going to add, just keep adding. Put a little bit of that grayish mixture under here. I want to create that shadow, so we'll go back to that black and white. So deepen up that shadow there. And then we'll just go right to the brown. Add a little bit of brown right under that beard. I want to mix it while it's still wet. You can mix some of that gray in between. So it gives it a little bit more of a blended look. Now with the brown, I want you to go out on the outside, and I want you to feather outward with that liner brush. We're going to just go around with the brown, and we're just going to add your streaks, just streaks of lines, just lines that are going to go right here on this outside of the body. And then when we go into the middle, we're going to go towards the center. So first we started in the center outward, and now when we get to the middle, we're going to go inward and towards the middle. So it's like you're going this way and then you're going this way. And again, this is just kind of like basic painting. It's not like, you know, something that I want you to feel like it's going to be a master piece. And that's what I like about mixed media, because it's really the sky's the limit. You do how you want to do your painting. So I'm just going to continue to go around and out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, hey, Chilla, thank you for sprinkling. Thanks for being here. Happy Groundhog Day. We are actually doing this mixed media groundhog where we added some texture to our background. And now we are painting our groundhog here. So thank you for sprinkling. Thank you for watching. If you're new to my page, please say hello and let me know where you're watching from. Please excuse my natty nasal voice because I'm still stuffy and a little bit still sick with this sinus cold. Of course, the weather doesn't help. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to wipe my brush off and we're going to go straight to the black. And we're going to go right into these little hands of theirs. I'm going to fill it in, leaving the nails exposed because they have kind of the same type of hands as raccoons. So groundhogs are technically considered a type of rodent. But isn't that interesting that they have different underground compartments, you know, where one where they sleep and one where they take care of their young, and another one where they use the bathroom. So I'm going to add just a little bit of that gray just so we can distinct each finger. So go back here with the black. Gonna fill in the hand. They're probably so cute to look at, but I bet they're pretty vicious. I know raccoons can be. Raccoons are smarty pants, but they can be a little vicious. I'm not sure about the groundhog. They don't seem to be vicious with those men with the top hats that carry them to predict the weather. They're like wondering like, who woke me up, right? They're wondering like, hello. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to mix with a little gray. And this is just to add highlight to each finger. He's got 4 fingers exposed. So the thumb's probably in the background behind him. Okay, so now that we have our hands, we have a little bit of this brown going on. I'm going to put my brushes in the water. We're going to dry this real quickly. Oh, thank you, Sheila. Now, Chilla, I know that you watch Denise. Are you watching from New Jersey? Remind me where you live. We had 17 degrees today here in South Carolina this morning. It's warmed up. The high's going to be 46, I think. But then we're going to go back to the teens and 20s in the evening. So we're just going to dry him. And now I am going to let's see, what's my time? What time is it? Oh, it's 1:50. Okay, so we're about halfway through. Oh, you're in upstate New York. Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, I was born in Manhattan, raised in Queens, and lived in Long Island, so I'm not new to the snow. I don't miss it. I don't want it. So the fact that we have it here, we got this nor'easter hit us here in South Carolina. It's like pretty big deal. So I probably won't know until about maybe 4 or 5 o'clock tonight to see if the kids have school tomorrow. They're only off today because they have professional development day, which for the teachers, they set a holiday for the students. So whether you want to call this a holiday, I figured it'd be just appropriate to go ahead and paint a groundhog, which I've never painted before. So I figured today's the day to start painting again and getting back into the swing of things with Artsy Adventures with Angie, because that is my goal this year, is to start back doing my DIY paintings and just doing it, right? We got to do it. We got to get off our butts, just do it. So what I'm going to do is I am just going over a little bit around the nose with some of that gray. So just kind of try to defining the nose a little bit, even though it's a little bit more black, but I'm just going to go around because there's like a little fade of gray. So I'm going to push it in the water, tap, 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 and try to blend it outward. Just like that. And then I'm going to then add the black very while it's wet. That just kind of, it's like a little technique I do just to find the nose and start blending the black in. And now I'm going to go back with my blue and black because I need the dark blue to cover this edge here. To kind of define that little edge there. And then close in that white area. So we're going to do the same thing, a little bit of that true blue and black to get a nice dark blue. And I'm going to do the same here around the ear. Just going to cover those little nooks and crannies of, let's see, a little bit more blue. And just going to go around the ear. Just enough to cover those little imperfections. I hate the snow too. You said I hate the snow. Oh my goodness, who doesn't? I mean, it's pretty to look at. It's beautiful when it's just sitting there, looking lovely. But I honestly don't care much for it. I think it's just all the years I've had to dig myself out. When I was a kid, like I had to always, dig myself out of when I had my car parked in the street. I don't know, because up there, New York is a city that never sleeps. So there's like, 6 inches, no problem. You can still go to school. So they don't care. You go. So, yeah. So I'm just covering all those little edges just to now start getting a little tighter around the hedge. I was going to say hedgehog. Around the groundhog. So now I can wipe that, grab my black and white, and we're just going to kind of define the eye a little bit. And I'm going to grab a little bit of that cream, that buttercream, because the buttercream was that highlight over the eye. And the same buttercream is going to go here. Maybe even a little white, because it was very defined around here, around the cheek and ear area. So I'm just trying to get a little bit of that white. So I'm just adding white and some of the highlights. Kind of mixing the white and that cream together. And there was a lot of white and highlights right over the nose. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. We're trying to just define that little cheeky area to give that illusion of the roundness of his face and that nose. So just like that, just kind of blending it in. And just like that. So we're just doing it. I'm still congested from all this. I don't know if it's the cold or my husband getting me sick. I don't know. But we're just going with it. So let me put a little bit more brown here. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce this golden brown. Craft Smart has this golden brown. If you don't have golden brown, you could always add a little bit of yellow to your brown, or even that cream color. And now I'm going to go and try to add some more of these little lines. And now it's like on top of the brown area. So looking at the color, it looks like I need more brown. So now I'm going to go back. Let's go back and get that pastry brush with just the brown. I might even mix a little bit of black. And we're just going to go in here and fill that in a little bit more. Just like that. Okay, so this way it makes it easier for us to now, I'm not going to put this in the water. This just makes it easier for us to add those additional highlights. So I'm going to go ahead and dry that. Well, thank you, Chilla, for being here. Taking your time to watch me get back into my element. Just gonna try to go in between the fingers here. Hey, Lucas. Lucas. Tell him it's 2 o'clock. I'm not sure if he fell asleep. It's 2 o'clock, babe.
What?
It's 2 o'clock.
I know.
Oh. Oh, well, that's why I come on here, so you can learn how to paint. So there we are with that part. So what we're going to do, so now you know the layers. And I am actually recording it today so that the YouTube tutorial can be up when anybody wants to watch it later. So now I'm just going to go right into the golden brown. And we're going to add over the brown. So we're going to add layers, like little lines for the fur. Okay, you could use a much thinner brush. So the liner brush can vary in sizes. And then here, I feel like we have to kind of go with the shape of this arm here. So we're just gonna curve these lines here a little bit because this is where the arm is. So you don't lose the structure of the arm. And then we're just gonna do a couple of longer lines here for the body. Is what we're doing. Just adding the longer lines here. And just continuing going inward. So remember, outward this way and inward the other way. And then here you've got a curve for this hand. And then outward. And if you mess up, you just go back with the background color, so you can cover the mistakes wherever you made your mistakes. So I've done this layer, okay? So now that I have that layer, so see how it creates, you want to start with dark to light. I am on YouTube. I just haven't uploaded it in a while. Let me grab my, and it's also called Artsy Adventures with Angie on YouTube. So, excuse me for blowing my nose. All right, so now I'm going to go right into that cream colored we had. And he has a center here that is quite predominantly light here. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to grab some of that. And with that lines, I'm just going to go inward. Now I'm going to change my brush and grab another liner brush. I think that one's been overly used. And then we're going to grab just the buttermilk and we're just going to do inward lines going towards the center. And now I'm just going to go outward. So you're still showing those other. So now we're going to doing like the highlights. Just kind of a little bit here. And again, I'm just going to do these long lines. This one going inward. And this one going outward. And I'm trying to barely touch the really trying to touch, like notice how I'm almost floating my brush. So I'm barely trying to put any pressure. So like gently trying to do the lines. And I call these like little wispy lines. And now with the same wispy line, now we can curve to kind of help with that part. Okay, so that's how we add some of those. So see how it starts to come together as that fur. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've been on YouTube for a little while, but it's been a while. So so it's I've just been a mess lately. I really have been. So now what I want to do is I'm going to introduce now some orange hedgehogs, or I keep saying hedgehogs. I'm going to put it right here in between these two colors because I want to mix that orange with the cream. That is the perfect color I'm trying to look for, is a little bit of that orange. And we're going to add some of those highlights in here. So we want to just kind of keep overlaying. I'm going to add a little bit of orange on this side with a little brown. Let's see what color that gives us. And then I'm going to go with just brown, and I'm going to take this brown under here, maybe with a little black under here, so this creates more of an undershadow. Gonna grab your brown. You don't want to have it too black. You just want to have enough of that shadow, so it's almost like a brown black. And go back to our orange and golden brown mix. Got a little bit more orange in here. So orange and brown mix. Get a little bit of just the brown. So we kind of try to make it like that's his arm there. And just grabbing some of that now when you get to the top where it mixes with the gray, just grab some of that golden brown and just kind of paint upward into the gray. Just around that edge. So I'm going to go back to that orange and golden brown. We're going to add a couple more here, just a couple little orange areas. And now let me wipe my brush. Let's go right into the buttercream. So we could still add a few of those little highlights. And we're going to curve right here to kind of show that predominantly that chest area. And a little bit more highlight to define the other arm. going in the opposite direction. Just like that. And this is acrylics. We're working with acrylics on a 14 by 14 canvas. And I'm just going to keep adding with my liner brush. So all I'm doing is little wispy lines, wisp, 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 wisp. And then I'm going to grab some black, just black, and I'm going to add just a few wispy black lines. Going in that direction. Just following the fur pattern. Hey, Terry, how are you? Oh, thanks. How are you been, sweet friend? I'm trying to basically get back into the game, girl, because you know how Facebook's monetizing again. So we all got to do our part, right? We got to do what we got to do. Even if it's just for a few bucks, right? How is the weather over there in Vegas, girl? I'm actually trying to start my my own thing. So I'm back on the game. I'm gonna try to go live now from 12 to 2 Mondays, Wednesdays, and occasional Fridays. And then I will be still doing some groups like I was yesterday. I was in the Double Trouble group yesterday. I'm gonna add a little bit of black now, just a little bit to kind of blend in some of sort of dry brushing now at this point. Okay, using the black in there. We had some black in here. So yeah. So let me know how you're doing. Sorry if you can't hear me because I'm so congested. I've been so congested. I'm just gonna define these little fingers here. And then add that gray mix. Okay. And we're gonna go with some of that golden brown just to kind of wisp it over. So yeah, how have you been, girl? High hopes for more success. Oh, okay. So did you get any snow? Did you get any snow, girl? Let me know if you got any snow. So what I'm painting today is your groundhog for Groundhog's Day, because this little joker had to pop his head out and see his shadow. So we're not happy about that. Calling for 6 more weeks of winter. So to commemorate today's day of Groundhog Day, I have never actually painted a groundhog. And we're trying to add some brown here, brown and black, to make a darker brown. And we're gonna kind of go in here, add a couple of shadows. A little bit of that black and brown mix in between. some shadows. So just grab some black and some nutmeg brown. And we're just gonna add our little lines. We're just gonna push them inward. Now this is not a paint party type of design, because this is of a more learning. I'm actually doing a recording this for YouTube as well, because I need to update some over there as well, since I've been monetized over there and I've been like, hello, snooze fest. I've been just trying to grasp a hold of the fact that my boys are growing and they don't need mama. They don't need me anymore. Not really. Oh, there you go. So yeah, I'm just like trying to grasp a hold of the fact that my boys are now a little bit more independent and they don't need mama anymore for quite a few things. So love ya. So yeah, so just kind of been getting back into the game again. So I appreciate you being here. Now I'm just doing a little outline of the nose so we can now start defining it. Now they does have some little dots around because they do have whiskers. So just sort of putting a couple of dots here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start defining the eye a little bit with my liner brush. And I'm just going to just carefully going around the eye. And then it does have like a little faded line underneath. And then it has a little bit of black lines on its forehead. So yeah. So thank you for being here. Miss Angie is working on her art again. I'm actually working more now towards more painting. Believe it or not, I'm working more on painting, Terry, than parties. So I'm trying to focus more on, I still have a few booked paintings, but booked parties, but I'm trying now to focus more on my art. Than on the parties, if that makes any sense. So yeah, so I'm just gonna put a few little tiny, barely touching the canvas, black lines here over that white, just so it looks still like it's fur. Okay, now I'm gonna zoom in to my little picture here, so I'm gonna show you what we have, and let's see. Keep forgetting that this computer's not hello. I gotta zoom in. Oh, so its whiskers are black. Okay. A little bit of black and white whiskers in there. Yes, that is exactly what I've been kind of going through. I guess, you know, Terry, it's kind of like an artist thing. We go through our artist block phase, and then until the light bulb hits over our heads, right? And you're like, I know what I want to do. So I'm going to put a little bit of a line of white around this ear. Or at least try. Hello. Where's my white? Okay. And now we're going to do a little bit. Let's try to do our best with our black lines first. So we're going to do some long whiskers. Barely. I'm going to go some on the other side. Like I said, barely going around there. So I'm just going to do a black and white mixture again. Oops. I want some gray. Right here. I had to define this part right here. And go back with my black. Yeah. And just kind of do that. Okay, so now that I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna go ahead and wash this and just use my white only. So now we're gonna just do the white. And we're going to do some white whiskers coming down. If I could get some white in there. And just grab some of that white. And you kind of want to see it more between, oops, that was too much, oops. Okay, messing up right there. So see, I messed up right there. It's a little too much. Notice how I did a little too much white on that side. So what I have to do is we're gonna dry it real quick so we go over it with the background color. I'm gonna grab a little bit of this black and white gray mix. Let's find that finger more. So I'm just gonna dry that face a little bit. Because we need to go back to, thank you, Terry. I'm gonna go back to this True Blue. So I'm currently have like 3 devices going right now. And I'm in my kitchen because my art studio is just way too cold. I'm gonna mix it with that little bit of black and blue. Mixture. And just like that, I'm just gonna make those disappear because we'll just try again. Okay, and I just made that little bit boo-boo, so don't fret. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little brown there. There we go. And then with the brown, I'm gonna let that dry in the meantime. With that brown, I'm just going to go and just wisp all the outside lines here. And the same on this side. Maybe a little bit of that buttermilk. And I think I'm just going to get that white again. And very lightly, That's a little bit better now. for those whiskers there. So I'm just going to do another one right here. Yeah. So I'm happy with him. I think he's okay. I might tweak him a little bit later. Okay. So now we have, I showed you how we did the background and how we added that texture in the back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, let's grab some green. I'm going to grab some green and I'm going to mix my green with that Ocean Breeze turquoise right here. So we're gonna mix it. I'm gonna grab my small brush to mix the two. We're making a new color. Okay. And I'm gonna put that back. And I'm gonna grab that pastry brush that I told you not to wash. And we're gonna go upward. Oops. And I go upward. You know what? I want to mix that green with some black. So dark green. And I'm just gonna go upward. So I'm gonna mix black with green to make a dark green first. I'm gonna go right over the hedgehog. I keep saying hedgehog. The groundhog. And you kind of skip. You can do it right here at the edge, as far as you want to go. And I want to grab just the green and in between. And a little bit of that turquoise. So go with that turquoise. And we're just going to continue with that turquoise mixture. Just like that. And I'm not even doing all the way. So it looks like he is sitting in the field. And a little bit more of that black. Mixture in between. And then I'm going to still not wash this, so I'm going to put it off to the side. So we have that kind of a pattern. Put a little bit, it looks a little too boxy on that end, so let me go ahead and put a little bit more, kind of going in a sort of a round. So it's not like as boxy. So hopefully that helps. Put a little bit more black over here. And a little turquoise. Let's get a little turquoise, yeah, in there. Okay. So we have that grassy area kind of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and dry that real quick. Dry it. So I love using the pastry brush. You do so many techniques. We did the technique in the background with our 3/4 inch flat brush, and then we went ahead and added the striations of brown. So yeah. Now we're going to try to grab a small angle brush. The smallest angles brush I guess you can have. Grab your the same green. And I'm just going to now fill in with that basic green. all of my leaves. Just like that. Let's see, where's the... Just gotta make sure I'm not on a flower petal. Got this green here. Let's see, I have another one here. Just like that. And if you want to, we'll add some of that blue there. And then we did have this one here. I think you had one over here as well. So we had those colors in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little bit of that blue, that green black mixture. For a little bit of our bigger ones. Just like that. We're just gonna let that dry. Okay. So that's where we're going. Okay. And now we're gonna dry and then paint our flowers. What colors do y'all think I should paint the flowers? I have these two, I was thinking, for the flowers. I have this orange and coral. I think orange always looks good against blue. So thank y'all for being here, especially those who have hung on to watch me. We're almost done with this. So happy Monday, happy Groundhog's Day. It's also Professional Development Day for my boys because they had no school today. Not sure, still waiting. We probably won't be notified till about anywhere between 4 and 6. Usually 7 the latest on what's the update for tomorrow, if our kiddos are going to school tomorrow or what. Charlotte got it pretty bad, this winter storm. We got about 6 inches, so that's a lot for South Carolina, at least for here in my town. So yeah, but the boys had a good snow day. They were playing with the snow. They were having, instead of snowball fights, because it was too powdery, they were scooping up shovels of snow and flinging it on each other. So, you know, that's kind of what they were doing. So I already have my orange paint out on here. So I'm going to go ahead and take advantage. The orange is out. And I am going to just make an orange flower. Just like that. And we're just filling that in. And I'm going to take some of that brown and I guess put the brown center in there. A little brown center in there. Okay, and now I'm going to wash that brush and grab this. I love this color. I love this coral reef. Oh, you like the red? Maybe another time I'll do the red. I don't know, I'm not feeling the red today. But this one has kind of a hint of what you call more like a pink. So I'm just going to fill in those petals. And I almost wish I had a little tiny snowflake stencil. I have wooden snowflakes that I was going to add to it. So it's a little bit like, you know, let's see if I add a little brown. Or orange. Just like that. And just a little bit more brown in the middle. And let's wash that. And we'll get a little bit more of that coral. I think what I'm going to do is I want to grab, let's see, a little piece of this tissue paper. Let's just grab it and scrunch it. See if I could make even a little rose or flower kind of pattern. Like that. And I'm going to tap it with that coral. I'm going to put one here. And we're just going to continue doing that. I'm just going to add because it can be anything, really. Just going to add you know, it's just so it gives it a little bit of balance. And then I'm going to grab, I think I'm going to grab a little bit of the orange on my pastry brush and do some orange lines. Just with the orange. Kind of give it that balance. See there. And that's kind of how you do that color balance. Okay. Now this could be just like this and leave it like this, where you have, I don't know if his face is looking a little too white on the screen. I think I'm going to add a little bit more, little color to him. he looking way too white. So I'm going to add a little bit of that coral mixed with the buttermilk, just to give him some color. Even though, and I'm just going to blot, I'm just kind of blotting. Because, you know, with mixed media, there is no right or wrong. So I think I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to add a little bit of that coral in his face. Mixed that coral in there. I think it's a little bit better. See, we're looking a little pale. Of course, you just called for six more weeks of winter, so you might as well look pale. Because all the rest of us are pale, bro. So I just added a little bit of that pink. And I think it gives it a little bit better texture. So, isn't that cute? So, because he was looking a little bit pale. Look at him with some little rosy cheeks. But there you have that mixed media. We have lines going this way. We have lines going this way. We have our bubble wrap and bumblebee patterns in the background with our crazy blue. Looking like he is in a field, and there is some pops. Now, what I was going to suggest is if you have a snowflake stencil about this size, I would suggest go ahead and put some snowflakes, because that's the thing with the hedge. I was going to say hedgehog again. With, oh, I like this one. With our pattern here. Now, I don't think if I painted this, it'll come out as a stamp. I could try. But I'm not feeling too confident that this is going to work. So I was going to just paint these white. But we're going to try. We're going to stencil a little bit of white on here and kind of use it as a stamp and see if it works. If it doesn't work, then it didn't work as a stamp. Then we'll just probably hot glue these on there. But I'm going to go ahead and use my fingers back here and then rubber stamp, or trying to stamp, which is really a wooden piece. Oh, okay. That kind of worked. So you got a snowflake. Hey. So we could try doing that again. Of course, I messed it up because I lifted it. But the more messed up it looks, it actually looks a little bit better. It's the beauty of art. So we're going to try that again. I'm going to put one over here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm pressing both under, more so under, and I'm just going to lift. Nice. Let's put a couple more snowflakes. Oh, that worked. I was going to actually glue it. I was going to paint these white and glue it, which you can do. That's the other option. But they're actually working with our whole crazy mixed media background. So I'm going to go ahead and tap the white on here with my stencil brush. And I'm going to go put another one like right here. So notice I lift up the canvas. I press down like I'm pressing on a stamp, but I'm using my bottom fingers to do the rubbing, and then I lift. So it's got winter and flowers, because that's how crazy the whole thing about Groundhog's Day is. So we making it crazy today. We're making it crazy. How do you say it? Pisani fill. Phil the hedgehog, Phil the groundhog. So I'm gonna do another one right here. So I'm pressing down and I'm rubbing under mostly. So, and then I lift. There's another one. Kind of want to redo this one here on that little tip there that I messed up. See if I could redo it. And hold. And lift. Okay. I mean, it's all right. I could put one. I think I'm putting one more there. One more there. Let's do one more there and then a half one on the top. So I hope you're enjoying this. So this is like my little hedgehog tutorial mixed media. We're gonna put our fingers underneath, place it. Now, if you have a rubber stamp, then you can use a rubber stamp and add white paint. That is how we did that bumblebee pattern. And then I'm going to do like a little bit of a half. Let's do a half snowflake. Just a half on this side. I'm going to just do it like right here. Just like that. Maybe one coming from up here. Yeah, I like that. All right. So we got both spring and winter. So he can predict both. So there you have it. Showing it there. So how cool is that? We have our winter and spring hedgehog mixed media. So I hope you enjoyed this today. Thank you all for coming. And just show it like this. Thanks for all for coming and happy Groundhog's Day. And enjoy the next 6 weeks of winter. Have a great day. See you Wednesday. Bye.